Hey guys, Bird Yugioh here, coming at you with another deck profile. This time it is going to be might be a little lengthy one. I got a 60 card Zefra Endymion Mythical Beast kind of combo deck. Does a lot, but as everyone knows, Zefras are probably the king of getting spell counters on stuff. And so like if you can get a servant, you have ways of searching it with this deck, then you're going to be able to more than likely get that effect off because you'll gain a lot of counters with the Zefra cards. So if you haven't already, go and subscribe, and we'll get right into this. Starting with the best Zefra card, Zefrath. The main thing you're going to do with him is set him in scale, and then he just places one Zefra pendulum monster from your deck to the face up on your extra deck. And if you do, you change his pendulum scale to the same as that monster you sent. That's the main effect you'll do. So it's basically Electromite, kind of just helping you load up your extra deck. And he can't be normal summoned, but you can special summon him face up from your extra deck by attributing all monsters you control, including at least 3 Zefra monsters. And he can't be special summoned by any other way. And then after you special summon him, you can pendulum summon again. So he gives you an additional pendulum summon. And then you can also tribute one monster and special summon one Zefra monster from your deck. So if you can get him out by his monster effect, he's obviously really, really good. But more than likely, you're just going to be using him to send one of your other Zefra cards. Which one that is very good to send is Zefra Nui. Play 3 of him. When he's pendulum summoned, or when he's destroyed by battle or card effect while in the monster zone, you can add one Zing or Zefra spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So he just gets your engine going. Basically Zefrath gets your engine going, and then when he's pendulum summoned, he just gains you more advantage and potentially more counters and everything. One Zefraxi, when he's pendulum summoned, you can just target one Zing or Zefra you control, and it becomes a tuner. So it's your way of going into synchro summons very easily. And one Satellar Knight Zefra, and if he is normal or pendulum summoned, you can target one other Zefra card basically in your monster zone or pendulum zone, and add that card, and one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy them. So he's good monster destruction, and also just a good low scale. And the other Satellar Knight Zefra monster we play, if he's normal or pendulum summoned, you can target one Zefra in your monster zone or pendulum zone, and one set card your opponent controls, and you destroy them. So he'll get rid of those traps. And then the last one is Ritual Beast Tamer Zefra Wendy, and when she's normal or pendulum summoned, you can add one Zefra monster from your extra deck to your hand. So it just kind of gains you, more advantage getting stuff to your hand. That's it for the Zefra monsters. They're all very searchable. Kind of just a utility package, and I think it's perfect. And then the last card I'm kind of including with them is Odd Eyes Synchron. You're mostly going to be doing him if he's special summoned from the extra deck. Or when he's normal summoned, you're actually going to be using that more often than not if you can. Search him somehow. And I got a few ways of doing that I'll show you. But when he's normal summoned, you can target one level 3 or lower Perform Spell or Odd Eyes monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That's not going to happen really with this deck at all. But then you can target one card, so when he's on the field, you can target one card in your pendulum zone, special summon it. And then immediately after that effect resolves, you can synchro summon using this card and that card you special summoned. So that's more often than not what you're going to be using this for, especially in this deck. But he's a very good card in a lot of different decks. And one way of searching him is one of the better cards in this deck, Magical Abductor. I said Zefras, gain you a lot of advantage. They get you a lot of counters. And this is a very good card, obviously, to load up with counters, because each time a spell card is activated, you place one spell counter on this card, and then you can remove 3 spell counters and add one pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. So you'll be searching anything Even your one of, Servant of Endymion, search off of him. So, amazing card. Obviously, especially if you can get your 3 counters on it. You need to get your 3 counters on it as soon as you can. You need to see this card as soon as you can. And then some of the turbo cards we play, you're not really turboing into too much, but Chronograph is a really good one to just help you get presence on the board and monsters on the board. And then he also is going to be special summoning from the hand, obviously, if a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect. So I like him still, and obviously Time Gazer to special summon off of him. A lot of times you'll find now that you'll be using him to destroy himself and then set a scale. Set Time Gazer in the scale, but he just gives you options. And then 1 Servant of Endymion and 2 of the big Mighty Master of Magic. They're self-explanatory. You want to get to her if you can, so that you can load her up with counters, and then she'll be special summoning herself and Endymion, or like a Jackal King, or whatever you need. But it's just a small little engine. It's not your main engine, but it is a very good engine. And then we also play the Mythical Beasts. There's really good starters in general. At the least, you're going to be getting him on board if you can, and then 2 Jackal King. Jackal King you can get off of, put to your pendulum, face up in your extra deck, or special summon Jackal King off of Servant. So you got 2 ways of doing that. And that's it for those. We're not playing any of the other one of Mythical Beasts. They just don't blend as well with this deck as they do in others. Let's move these out of the way. Still play the Supreme Kings, Dark Worm and stuff. Again, it's getting you free monster on board, like a free level 4, for Xyz summoning or Synchro summoning. But also, this is very good because it's getting you to your gate 0s, which are very important once you can start getting into some of your synchros, and then special summoning this, going into rank 7s and stuff. So it's a good little engine, especially in this deck. I think it's very good. And we play 2 just so you don't banish the one, because we do play Pot of Desires. It's a 60 card variant, so no risk there. 2 Destrudo. Again, Synchro Summoning is pretty important in this deck. Destrudo is going to be getting you easily to, more often than not, it's going to be your level 7 Synchros, which, like, Yazi is very good, and Odd Eyes Meteor Burst are the 2 main ones that you're going to be trying to go into, and then Mare, because you play the Yazi, getting a Mare is just going to gain you a lot of advantage, and just more stuff on board. Now on to the spells. Most important Zefra one is going to be Zefra Providence. You just simply add 1 Zefra card from your deck to your hand, and then if a Zefra card you control would be destroyed, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this from the graveyard instead. So it's protection as well for your cards. 3 Spell Power Mastery to get counters on cards and to search out any of your Endymion, your 3 Endymion cards, but very important Endymion cards. Field spells we play, 3 Oracle of Zefra. This is another one that's just going to search you. When it's activated, you add 1 Zefra monster from your deck to your hand, and then when you, special summon using a Zefra monster as material, so like if you Synchro summon, you can choose 1 monster in your deck and place it on top of your deck. If you Xyz, you can draw 1 card, then discard 1 card. That's pretty much all you're going to be doing using that card. We also play 3 Dragon Ravine. That's to send your Destrudo or your Supreme King Darkworm. Very good card. Again, it's easily gaining you counters if you need them. And then we play 1 Magical Citadel. I just found potentially for getting off Endymion's effect. That just makes it a lot easier. It just helps control your spell counters a little bit. 2 Dragon Shrine, again for Destrudo and Supreme King Dragon Darkworm. Foolish Burial, same thing. And then Terraforming, set rotation to get to any of your field spells. And a good lock for your opponent is giving them a set Oracle of Zefra, obviously unless you need it, because then they won't be able to activate any other field spells, because they're more than likely not going to have a Zefra card that they can add to their hand. And then some good draw power, 3 Pot of Desires. Again, it's a 60 card build. There's not much risk with all the cool little engines that you play. You know, if you banish a whole engine, you know, it's not the end of the world. And then 1 Upstart Goblin. Just again, counters are everything with this deck. And then the traps. 2 Zefra Divine Strike. It's an amazing card. A lot of times this is the one you'll want to be searching or eventually getting to off of Zefra Nui. Because when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you just banish 1 face-up Zefra monster in your extra deck and negate the activation and destroy it. And it's a counter trap, so very, very good. Another one you can search is 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated and you control a Yang Zing, negate the activation, and if you do, shuffle that card into the deck, then destroy 1 other Yang Zing you control. So it potentially gets you quite a few effects going off. And then 1 Zefra War. You just target 1 other Zefra card you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy them. And then if you have 2 Zefra cards in your pendulum zone, you can activate this card from your hand. So again, just potentially messes up your opponent and gets you some advantage. Okay, and you saw the first card that we play already, Yazi. Very, very good going second. And in this build, you're going to be able to get his full advantage, basically, because you do play, actually, you know, more Yang Zing cards. So, very, very good card. Our level 6 we play is Metaphys Horus. He is very good because if you synchro summon with a pendulum monster, which you almost always are, your opponent chooses 1 monster they control and they give control of it to you, but it can't attack this turn, so you're just getting a free monster on your board, basically, from him. And then our level 8 that we play is Cyframe Lord Omega. Again, very good, especially going first. Getting him out and just ripping a card out of your opponent's hand is very nice. Play some level 9s because they are fairly easy to get into. Chao Feng, Phantom of the Yang Zing, is a really nice one. Your opponent's not going to be able to activate effects as monsters with the same original attribute as Yang Zing used to summon him. So that's basically Earth. So that doesn't come up too much. But you can... and then when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, which you have a few ways of destroying him, you can add 1 tuner monster from your deck to your hand. And then when a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 worm type monster from your deck in defense position. So he just has a lot of ways of getting you more presence on board. The other 9 that we play is Gothams. You just tribute 1 X-Saber monster, so tribute himself, and then you discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. And then with Cloud Castle, you can use his effect twice per turn, because when this card is synchro summoned, you can target 1 level 9 monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So you can either, like I said, use it, special summon him back, and then use his effect again, or take these 2 and go into True King of All Calamities, which is a really good card as well, for just kind of controlling your opponent. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material, declare 1 attribute, and all face-up monsters on the field become that attribute. And then also all monsters in your opponent's possession with that attribute cannot activate their effects or attack. So very, very good card. And the rank 6 that we play, because there are a few rank 6s, you know, like Chronograph, Zefra Endymion, and other ones of those. So this can be made pretty easily, and it's just once per turn during either player's turn. When a monster effect is activated, you just detach one, negate the effect, and inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. So it's a nice little card to have. Some of the links that we play: 2 land for Hinkus, 1 land for Hinkus, just for getting you 2 arrows is what I meant to say. And also you can use some of your tokens from Yazi to make him, or Draco's kind of nice. Masters of the Tenyi can't be destroyed by battle with an effect monster is the main reason you make him, and he gives you 3 arrows, so a really nice card. IP Masquerena, it's one I play all the time, especially in pendulum decks. I find it's just so easy to go into her. And then obviously the unicorn to go into on your opponent's turn to interrupt them. And then we play the Odd Eyes engine. Meteor Burst is your level 7. When this is synchro summoned, you just target 1 card in your pendulum zone and special summon it. So that's what I was saying with your Supreme King Dragon Darkworm getting gate 0, and then you can special summon. That is kind of nice, because then you can take those 2 and go into Odd Eyes Absolute. It's another one of your cards that is very good, because when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can then summon out Vortex Dragon, which is really amazing. Basically, so when going second, when this card is special summoned, you just target 1 face-up attack position monster your opponent controls and return to the hand. And then during either player's turn, when spell, trap, monster effect is activated, you just shuffle 1 pendulum monster in your extra deck into the deck, and you negate the activation and destroy it. So absolutely amazing card. That's why we have these cards, so you can get into it just super, super easily. It's just too good not to play. So you can potentially get a lot of negates with this deck. You know, get a Odd Eyes on there with a Divine Strike, and you know, just have a IP Masquerena ready. So even that is 3 interruptions, 2 hard negates of anything. So this deck is really fun, really nice. Nice boards it can do. It's 60 card, so you know, it's not as consistent as say like a 40 card version, but this potentially has more power depending on what you draw and what you can get into. So it's just a fun little deck for you guys. Here soon, hopefully I'll be getting the Shaddoll structure deck, and I'll be doing quite a few deck profiles for that. I've got a few planned for you guys. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll catch you on the next one.